What's up, YouTube? Supernova back again. And you guessed it, I am in the 2003 Nissan Altima. I just got done rebuilding. I'm down here at the river where I normally take my boat at and go fishing. You know, just checking it out. I ain't been down here since the winter hit, because we actually had a winter this year. We ain't had a hot and muggy winter like we did last year. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. I meant to make a video after, you know, with my water pump situation. My last video I made stated that I needed a water pump because the old one, well, I had some issues with it. Bolt broke off and hell, it had 215,000 miles on it. Well, let me just go ahead and replace it. So I got a new water pump in, went and got some new bolts, put it on, and in my kit, the O-ring that it come with didn't have enough rubber on it to fill in the gap for the pipe that connects to the water pump. Because where I showed you the water pump bolts up to, there's a pipe that bolts up behind it and runs along the front of the block on into the bottom thermostat housing, which is also behind the exhaust manifold. So I used the old O-ring, and it came back and bit me in the ass. When I did that, there wasn't nothing wrong with it. It was still soft, but when I put it back on, it cracked. So when I went to go put the water pump back on, got everything sealed up, got everything fixed up, and then when I went to go fill it up with antifreeze, when I went to go fill up with antifreeze, it started leaking from hell. I mean, it was just pouring antifreeze from the bottom of the motor, and come to find out it was from where that O-ring was at. So I had to pull the exhaust manifold back apart. I had to pull it back off the motor. I had to pull the alternator. I had to take the belt off. I had to remove the water pump. Well, I used the O-ring that came with the kit, but this time I siliconed the hell out of it. And basically what I did was I shoved it in there. And it's safe to say, if I ever have to take it off, which I shouldn't have to, I'm going to be playing hell, but it don't leak. So it's a fully rebuilt motor, and you know, this car should last in between 250 to 300,000 extra miles. So if the water pump should survive that. So but I got everything back together, and as you see, I'm driving it. It drives just fine. I have a little issue with the transmission, though. It was an issue that has existed before and has existed for a very long time. It has not changed, but the transmission still works. The car gets you from point A to point B. The problem that I'm having with it is when it shifts from second to third, whether you do it manually or it does it by itself. When shifting from second to third, it lags going into gear. It kind of slips a little bit. I know I'm not no guru at transmissions, nor am I no transmission tech that can rebuild a transmission or anything, but I do know enough about them to tell you how they work. And basically how they work is being that all the other gears, reverse, neutral, drive, all those other gears hit just fine, it's only from second to third. That tells me it's a solenoid, a shift valve that's hanging up somewhere. So I ran transmission flush through it, and then I flushed the entire transmission with 2.5 gallons of transmission fluid. Then I used an additional 2 quarts to top it off to get it to proper levels, proper operating level, and it's got fresh fluid in it and still no change. So basically, I'm have my wife drive this car because she uses this car to get my father-in-law back and forth to his doctor's appointments because he can no longer drive. Basically, I'm just gonna tell her drive it how it is, and when the transmission goes out, then I'll probably pay like $1,600 to get a fully rebuilt transmission from Advanced Auto. I'll tow it to a transmission shop, pay them like $300 or $400 to swap it out myself. Have them swap it out. So, but other than that, the car runs good. It runs smoother than it did before. I got some AMSOIL PI Performance fuel injector cleaner in there now to try to flush out these injectors because of how much varnish and carbon buildup was around it, and it probably gummed up as well because it was a number 4 cylinder was kind of wet compared to the other 3. So I got some injector cleaner in there to flush that out. But other than that, it's a good car. AC works, heat works, everything works. The weird thing about these cars, they have 2 thermostats. They have one in the head, that's a 203, and they got one in the block, that's a 180. So that's something I ain't never seen before in a gasoline motor. I thought only diesels had 2 thermostats, but this car for sure has 2 thermostats instead of 1. One thing I have noticed, it does heat up quickly, so I'm guessing the reason why they do that is for fuel mileage purposes. But anyway, the car's good. Still got some break-in oil in it right now. I'm trying to put some miles on it so I can go ahead and park it, let it sit overnight, let all that oil settle. Now I'm gonna dump it and put some conventional SuperTech 10W30 that I got from Walmart, and then after that I'll run some of that Signature Series AMSOIL 10W30. These cars recommend 530, but you can run 1030 as long as you're running temps above 0 degrees. But the reason why I'm running 1030 instead of 530 is because when I checked the clearance on here, it's had, I think, it 1.5 100,000ths of it. I can't remember the number, but it was wore almost to the halfway point of. It was wore almost to the halfway point of either replacement or recut. I still have little more than half of wear left to go before the crank is out of spec, because I spec'd it with that plastic gauge. So I still have more than halfway of wear left to go before it's out of spec, and then the crank could either no longer be used or it's got to be recut and run some oversized bearings. But I doubt this car will ever see a second crankshaft. That's the good thing about Japs. You put 200,000 miles on them and the crank can still be reused. Same thing with your Hondas, your Toyotas. Their camshafts are the same way. They're made of solid steel. So your American-made vehicles use cast iron cranks, and after 200,000 miles, they gotta be chunked in the trash and a new one ordered. So, but this is the last video I'm gonna be making of this car. You know, just to show y'all it's running good. I got everything fixed. I meant to do a video before I got in and test drove it, but you know, this is the last and final video of the engine rebuild on a 2003 Nissan Altima. If you have any questions, comments, you know, put them below. I do get notifications on my phone, and I'll reply to them either when I get up for work or on weekends when I get up around 8 or 10. So, but if you have any comments, questions, or whatever, just, you know, put them below and I'll answer them. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Most of them I might be able to answer. Some of them I won't be able to answer, because like I said, I've been in this motor from top to bottom, you know, just rebuilding everything. So if you got any questions, I can answer them for you. Another thing too, I think I mentioned this in the previous videos. I'm gonna mention it again just in case I didn't. When rebuilding a Nissan, period, it don't matter if it's a Nissan Titan, a Nissan 350Z, whatever, you need 2 torque wrenches. You need one that reads foot-pounds, and you need one that reads inch-pounds, or if you have a digital torque wrench that could do both, that's fine too. But you gotta have at least, you gotta have a torque wrench that reads both inch-pounds and foot-pounds, because that's what these cars require. I had to go to Harbor Freight and buy an extra one. So, but just to let y'all know, everything is running good. Until next time, or the next project, or the next engine rebuild, peace out. God bless.